Hello, YouTube. 70s Mama here. Welcome to Mama's 420 Moments. First, I want to start this off since it's 420 with the bong rip. So everybody grab their pipes, joints, bongs, whatever you have, and let's do a bong rip for 420 Eastern Time. Happy 420, everybody. Welcome to Mama's 420 Moments, Episode 1. And this show is created to bring forward to the viewers some cannabis-related businesses with a high focus on the Midwest and the East Coast regions. And my hope is to feature a business every week with an interview format live here on my YouTube channel. I'd like to promote some of the great new ventures going on in these areas, as well as some additional West Coast familiar faces. It's a great way for the viewers to get a little more personalized inside look at a developing business and to support the newest startups as we begin. I also want to incorporate a segment on the most recent legalization efforts in our areas and activism opportunities with cannabis news, recent developments, that type of thing. I'll do my best to bring you guys some of the best, brightest individuals to highlight their ventures. The show is going to kick off every Sunday. It starts in January 2018. This particular episode is just a kickoff show to start it off and let you guys know January, Sundays, 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be bringing you a couple interviews every week. We also have moderators in here that they're going to make sure that the questions get to the guests from the chat. So at the end of the segment, we'll be able to answer some of those questions that you all bring today. Before I begin today's show, there's a few people that I want to thank. The show would have never even developed if it weren't for a great few people out there that encouraged and supported me to pursue it. I guess I should begin by thanking Marcus Richardson, Bubble Man's World, who supported me and gave me an opportunity to participate as a moderator of Hash Church. It helped me develop a network of like-minded friends. It taught me a whole new way of thinking about life, and it just affected my life in so many positive ways. Next, I want to thank Canna Trooper, who is here today with me as an assistant and as a moderator. And I wanted to also thank Tara Lee. Your encouragement to start my own show and move forward was such a blessing. It kind of motivated me to start this whole thing, and she's also responsible for the show's logo. So thank you, Tara. Melody Heads, I have met so many new additions to my circle of friends, all due to your live show and the Google Hangouts, and your encouragement means so much to me. So thank you so much. I want to shout out a few people in the chat like Lemon GF and Firebird and Tony Baloney and Rob Moore's Cannabis Cartoons and Corey Rosin and Dabin D73 and all of you guys, CannaFam Dynamics. I love you guys. Thanks for supporting me today. So let's support each other and feed positive vibes of encouragement. Lift each other up in spirit and strive to make a positive impact in someone else's life. The individual fulfillment you receive from that is irreplaceable. So without further ado, I want to introduce my first guest to the show. The first interview is with Eric from Natural Stress Solutions. So Eric, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
You as well. Thank you for having me on for the first show.
I'm glad that you came, and I just kind of wanted to kick this off a little bit by asking you to tell me a little bit about your new business and its launching.
Right on. Well, my name's Eric Jenkins. I'm the owner of Natural Stress Solutions. We're an up-and-coming company out of the Midwest in Michigan that provides a full line of CBD products, ranging anywhere from lotions and oils to topicals, sublingual sprays. We do mints, and then we even do some things with the nasal sprays for people that have seizures, as well as vaporizer cartridges. So our goal as a company is to provide accurate amounts of high-quality CBD in a way or format that best suits the user's needs. Not everybody has the same type of problem or the same type of issue. So for the most part, we were using that to cater towards individuals that have those type of problems. So not only are we worried about accurate dosing, but we also want to be able to bring in friendly and realistic prices, because a lot of times people in this industry aren't able to access their meds for the correct prices.
So tell me a little bit about how you got started in this business.
Well, we started back in 2008, I believe, is when the medical marijuana passed here in Michigan. I've been part of that community since that passed. I was on several different boards that rallied for the legalization and the decriminalization of marijuana and all of its active ingredients that we know of as THC. Knowing that that was such a big thing in the community and in the medical aspect of it, it made me want to know more about what type of things that could provide in a medical aspect or in a helpful way. So that was kind of what pushed me towards looking into the more CBD and other things like that. So as we got into it, you kind of have to take a step back and be like, well, why aren't we able to push this to a full medical, you know what I mean? And things like that. Basically, it was because I found personally that a lot of the things that had to do with THC, they didn't like it because it had a recreational aspect to it. So when you take that out and you put in like something CBD, there's nothing there that's questionable, and people aren't having that type of reaction or any type of psychoactive material, then I found that that was a really, really good way for that to be administered to people. So that was kind of how the whole company started.
So why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about the different products that you offer?
Okay. I mean, we have a large different list of stuff. First, a couple of them are going to be things like body lotions. These are going to be topicals people put on their hands, feet, anywhere that's providing some sort of pain or inflammation, things like that. Another thing that we do for those is going to be sublingual sprays and droppers. You guys have probably seen a lot of the ones like this. These sell in stores usually around $79, $89, $99 is what I've seen them for, and we're able to provide them at prices closer to like $49. So it's a pretty big jump, considering that a lot of these bigger commercial places are charging way too much for things like that. And I think that kind of takes away the medical aspect of it. We all grow our own medicine. We take that time to provide it at a cheap cost so that we are helping in a way that's all natural and good for everyone. And when you start talking about charging people crazy amounts of money for things, it becomes kind of counterproductive in that. So we also have, like I was saying, the nasal sprays. These are becoming really popular, especially with people that have children or things that have seizures, a lot of pets and things like that as well. So this has been doing a lot of help in regards to that. The biofilm in the nose is able to absorb CBD at a much higher rate than through your oral, or if you were to rub it into your hands or things like that. So that's also going to be providing a different type of area. We also have products like these. These are the e-cigarettes. The e-cigarettes are really nice because these are going to be starting to go in gas stations and things like that, and they're very easy for stress relief, for helping with pain, that type of thing, as well as people that are getting off of cigarettes a lot of times use the vape juice or the e-cigarettes. That's also a nice transition there with those. Just continuing on, we have, again, massage oils. That's going to be more of the dermal. We do these ones. That's grapeseed oil and CBD used for massaging. That's really good because a lot of people with pain go to rehab facilities and things like that that provide massages and stuff like that. So that's just a couple of the products. We have a huge lineup that we have coming. Our goal is to launch mid to end January. That's when the website will be done. See, there was a question popped up. Does a lotion contain parabens? No. We use all natural, all organic, non-GMO shea butter along with fractionated coconut oil, and those are pretty much the only two ingredients other than CBD that we use. We try to keep it really simple, really basic, all things that you can, look up and you can read on the label and things like that. We find that that tends to be a little bit better bet than going with the super intense products that have a lot of those things that aren't as natural and stuff like that. Anything else that I can key in on for you?
Well, what are your, you said something about you cartridges, like, are they vape cartridges for?
The disposable cartridges currently are going to be a disposable unit. It's an all-in-one unit like this. It just comes like that. You take the top off and you're just able to hit it just like a normal cigarette. There's 100 milligrams in each one of these cartridges, and we're going to be providing them somewhere between the $23 and $25.99 range. That's what we're going for our goals. We're still working on getting everything finalized with price sheets and whatnot. But the other one that we're going to have is going to be a more premium style cartridge. A lot of people have like the vape cartridges that they screw onto the 510 threads. We'll have ones like that. Those are going to be coming out in probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. Those will be finalized from our commercial manufacturer, as well as we're also going to have the e-juice. Those will come in a vial a lot like the sublingual drops do. And then you're able to take that off, put that into your e-cigarette or your e-juicer. A lot of people have the mods and things like that, so we're working on the e-juice line as well. So those should all be pure CBD in regards to the type of CBD that we use. Everything, that was another user question, sorry I didn't specify. The CBD that we use is going to be from CBD Distillery. They're our wholesaler. Essentially what they do is they order in the hemp that it's derived from the UK. So unfortunately we're trying to work on getting more hemp-based stuff in the US as well, but as in regards to that, that ensures that there's no THC on it. So what that does is the federal guidelines and how the FDA has it set up is that CBD is not known to cure or help with anything. So none of our products claim to cure any medical things like that. But they say as long as there's less than, I think, 0.03% THC, don't quote my numbers, I'm going to have to get with the statistics on that one. But as long as there's less than that amount of THC in it, then it's not derived from marijuana. So what they don't want happening is people growing, marijuana plants and then trying to do their own extraction process is their big deal with that. That being said, the reason that we go through CBD Distillery is because they, again, don't derive from marijuana, they derive from hemp, and that keeps it at extremely high rates. Pure is going to be, there's a technical grade and then there's a medical grade. Technical grade is 99 and above. Medical grade is going to be 99.99 and above. So that's to the 100th rate. This is all going to be medical grade. We only use the crystalline powder, which is going to be the 99.99. And I believe the last test was 8. The previous test was 7. And they're always working on appropriating that according to how much we get. My products are not currently available on a direct site. We're working with a couple of bigger distributors right now, trying to work something out so that we can get it out to a large amount of people at a quicker rate. Currently, I am planning on having all of my products available through my private site. That should be launching mid-January to end of January, but you can feel free to contact us on the Facebook page, and any of those messages will be received by me or my team. And we're going to be sending out samples for people to see, like, what type of things work for what people. And we're really about working with individuals to try and help them specifically. You can't put a direct medication or a direct process on each individual person's problems because, again, it's their problem. So we work with you directly to try and make sure that we get something that caters to you a lot better. Any other questions?
So when you talk about, I know you can't talk about what you're doing on a bigger scale, but when you say on a bigger scale, what you mean is like actually on a product shelf where you could walk into somewhere and find it on a shelf and be able to purchase it that way.
Correct. I can speak a little bit on it. Essentially, there's a large group of convenience stores that we're going for that's going to be more broadband so that people can just walk in and get our products anywhere. There's also going to be a pet lineup that is occurring with treats that have CBDs in it, as well as the sprays for the seizures and things like that. And then we're also going to be having a separate line for the skin and dermals. That's going to be hopefully going towards spas and things like that. So we're working with a couple different people to try and get it across a broad range, as well as trying to lock down a single distributor that will have enough for us to stock all of these products so that we can ship them out. Because I don't think everyone is going to need every product that's out there. So we're just kind of trying to cater to each of those niches in the market. I saw a quick question pop up. The e-juices currently, they're going to be made out of the same type of thing as most of the e-juices are. It's going to be a propylene glycol and a vegetable glycerin mix. Now, those usually contain a polyethylene glycol or a PEG. Those are the ones that everyone's trying to stay away from. Ours does not contain any PEGs. We're working currently on a large commercial emulsifying unit that's going to be using MCT oil. That's what we use with the e-cigarettes, but because these are only 0.5 millimeters, it's a lot more difficult to get an entire container of liquid to stabilize at that amount, whereas these smaller amounts, it's easier to do. So we're currently working on finishing that up. So our goal is to have no PGs, no VGs, and no PEGs. We're going to be using all MCT oil, C8 and C10, and that should be finalized before we have our product launch. So that's a really good question because a lot of e-juice companies are lacking in their knowledge of what they're putting out there.
So I have a quick question. So basically, if you want to order your products of any kind, do you have a medical marijuana license for that, or?
Right on. That's also a very, very common question we get a lot. Because of the fact that we abide by what the FDA has set out, again, it's not the law. They say that they're okay with CBD as long as it's derived from hemp and as long as it's less than 0.03 THC. We abide by all of those rules, so there is nothing illegal about our product. There's nothing that requires a card, a permit, or anything like that. So as of now, yeah, we're shipping to, when we ship on the launch for the full website, we'll be going to all 50 states. Can I elaborate on the UK hemp comes from? So essentially over in the UK, the laws are a lot more lax. They're not like they are here. So from my understanding of the situation, basically there have been farmers in the hemp industry in the UK for 20 plus years. So they have like hundreds and hundreds of acres that are already being processed and facilitated for farming hemp. And the reason that it's easier for them to ship it over from there is because there's such large facilities that are already growing and producing this, that the cost of for it to be, one, derived from cannabis, there is not enough value there for them to derive it from cannabis, and number two, that would make it illegal. The stuff from the UK comes with a super low THC level off the get, so they have very little extraction process they have to do on that. So essentially that's, I mean, as far as I know, they're getting it directly from hemp farmers in the UK, bringing it here. I know a lot of the questionability on that is, well, how are they farming it? What are they using to farm it? The good thing about that is in all our labs here in America, we have extremely high standards. So the equipment that you normally would see people running fractional distillators or ethanol distillation and things like that, they do it at such a level there where they're able to pull out all of those questionable things, pesticides, any type of, you know what I mean, airborne agent that might be in there. They're able to actually separate, test, and make sure. So these come back at 0 part per million on all solvent categories. There's absolutely nothing else left in these except for CBD. So in regards to a concern of where it comes from and the quality of what it is, there is a high, high standard of quality control here that they go through on the people that I buy from. So
What, just a basic question on the cartridges that you have. What if you purchase something like that? What's the storage life of it?
Generally speaking, things that are sustained in the MCT oil, which is one of the popular products that we use in a lot of our stuff, that's going to be anywhere from like a 1 to 3 shelf life. Now, that's given the stature of that they're stored in. So if you're having it out in the sun, sitting out there, it's obviously going to degrade at a faster rate than most things. So we try to store everything between 50 and 70 degrees in a dark area, just like you would store anything else. And I'm under the correct understanding that we're thinking it's pushing about 3 years. Now, CBD itself, if you're storing just the isolate, as long as it's not getting moist and under those same type of conditions, being that it is derived to such a high purity level, that should stay good for almost indefinitely. So.
And will you ever get into selling the isolate itself, or?
In regards to that, they find that it's difficult to provide it at a realistic rate of sale. I'd really like to get into it. That's something I'm discussing with them. Because I go through CBD Distillery and I work with them right now, I'm not allowed to technically sell that to undermine their products. So that's not something that I'd want to do with my wholesaler or anything like that. So there is a little bit of stature in regards to what I'm allowed to work with in regards to selling things up front. And our goal is to provide everything that we have at a realistic price. So if I were able to sell the CBD isolate, I'd have to sell it at a higher rate than what they are, and I don't feel as though that's really providing what people need at a realistic amount. So although it is something I'm looking into and I hope to eventually do, that's going to depend on how far the business takes us.
You said something interesting earlier about the nasal spray and pets, and having pets and being a pet lover, and seeing that there are some products out there now available to try to correct some ailments that your pets may be suffering from. What do you kind of see as some of the reasons that people are utilizing this right now for pets?
Okay, I mean, those right off the get, the biggest one is seizures and shakes. I mean, I see it a lot, especially in smaller dogs. Usually they have that small dog shake syndrome type of thing where they're constantly have a little shake going. We find that it's super helpful with that, as well as people who have dogs that have seizures. That was one of the ones that really hit home to me back in the day when I first started seeing it. There was an ad on Facebook of a dog. I think it was like an American bulldog or a boxer, and it was, shaking really, really bad, and it couldn't stop, and they gave it that CBD oil, and I was like, wow, like, no joke, if that was my dog, I'd be getting it that, no question asked. So I was like, what can I do to like provide that? So the two biggest things are going to be one, the sprays we find are easy because it's not always so easy. The dog doesn't want to keep its mouth open. So we go sprays and droppers. If droppers work better for your situation, usually just right in between the gum there, and that will either stop seizures, or if you're using it preventatively in smaller doses across the day, we usually push for the treats. The treats generally are like 5 to 10 milligrams, depending on your dog's size. So that accommodates really well with the preventative measures of people feed them 2, maybe 3 treats a day, and then the dog just stops having seizures altogether rather than just treating it with an emergency style dose of stopping the seizure. So obviously that would always work out better to not have it to begin with.
And when you're starting out on, let's say, you're just for the first time trying CBD product, what is generally a reasonable, acceptable dose to start out with?
Okay. So dosages are going to be depending on how you're going to take it in. A lot of people, like I said, like working with the droppers. These are really nice. Our new ones are going to have the actual milliliters right up on the side of the dropper themselves. So what a lot of people want to do is they're going to dose it according to how many drops there are or things like that. So regardless of how much it is, if it's your first time doing CBD, we recommend going in 10 milligram increments. That'll give you a pretty good guesstimation as to what you are looking for a full-time thing. Also, if it's for a specific thing like MS, seizures, depending on the type of thing that's causing the seizure is going to have a lot to do with the milligram count. So that being said, some people have a lot better luck with higher milligram counts. I would say a average would be 20 to 40. I would say that a large amount or someone that has some higher than normal need for it would be a 50 to 80 range, and a high dose would be 80 to 120 milligrams. So that just gives you a rough idea of how much they come in. A lot of people that have the higher milligram count stuff will just do custom orders through us, and we do that all the time. We do 1,000 milligram, 1,500 milligram, 2,000 milligram vials that are that big. The reason we start with these ones is because it's a realistic price, and it's a kind of gives someone that variancy of learning where their milligram count is for CBD. So that's a big one for people as well.
So this is a little off topic, but since you're in Michigan, I know that you guys are getting ready to move over to rec soon.
They are pushing for the rec. The commercial is definitely taking a big stride. We saw a change in that about 3 weeks ago. They pushed for a little more advocating on the legalities of it. It's definitely going to be a long road. I think any legalization of something this big, everyone wants to find their piece to fit in. And unfortunately, everybody wants to find their place for money as well. So it's going to be a long system that they're going to have to do some trial and erroring, some guinea pigging with some people, and then figuring out those gray areas and setting them to black and white. But in our benefit, I work closely with a couple of the attorneys that are actually on the board doing all of this work and putting it in. And although there are people advocating and rallying for some things that are not so favorable for the medical marijuana industry, we have a lot of really, really good people and intelligent individuals here in Michigan that are pushing for all those positive things for us and holding it down. So I think that's actually going to make it take longer than what's expected, but I think it's going to be for good reasoning, which is a really nice feeling to have here, because I feel like they're definitely not going to let them walk all over us as users. They're definitely advocating for everyone being accessible and not having to necessarily go to those dispensaries and things like that for their meds. So giving the people the options is kind of what this is about. That's kind of the whole idea of the whole medical thing is like you have the choice to medicate how you want to. And I think it's really nice that there's a lot of people here advocating for that as well. So that's definitely positive.
So does that change the way that they're doing business right now medically for the medical growers? Is that going to change for them?
Yeah. So from my understanding of the law, and again, I'm not a doctor nor am I an attorney, so everything that we do is just a personal recommendation or my, view of how it goes. Nothing is going to change for the users here. Nothing's going to change for the caretakers or the patients. They haven't even looked to try and move any of those things around. Pretty much the only thing that'll really change there is any people that are acting as caregivers will not be able to sell any of their overages to any of the dispensaries. That is kind of one of those gray areas that they're going to be solidifying down and saying, nope, that's not how it happens. You have to sell to your patients and give to your patients, and that's the only people you have to work with. So that separation of, what a dispensary is now versus what it will be then. A commercial dispensary or dispensary will be provided for by commercial grows. But in regards to the caretakers and their patients and everyone growing plants and all that, as far as I know, they have not touched a single bit of that law. They're just leaving it as it was because it was working well. So again, that's good for all the users that have that option.
And you see the
entourage effect with the hemp-derived CBD. That is a good question. I've heard that come up several different times. We do our best to try and analyze things on a personal basis with everyone. That being said, usually people that have that type of feeling or that type of thought process with the entourage effect is going to be people that are well versed in CBD, people that know the difference between hemp derived and that. In regards to that, I don't have a personal opinion. I do not feel as though that is something that you get from the hemp-derived CBD. Do I disagree with the notion that it is something that some people feel? Yes, and they very well could have good validity on it. And as we get more and more into the studies and learn more about the different CBD, hemp-derived, marijuana-derived, or synthetically made, we'll definitely have more information on that. So that's going to honestly have to be one that if I don't know something, I'm definitely going to look it up and learn more about it now. But from the people that I know that have been using our products and it has been helping them, the ones that are aware of what the entourage effect is, haven't really seen that a ton, but it's kind of something we will to be see as we learn more about it. It's a really, really good question.
That was actually going to be my next question, that someone, I was going to ask if you did know what the differences were between hemp oil and cannabis derived CBD. I don't know if anyone's pointed that out yet.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a unique type of thing that I'm seeing now more immersed now that I'm looking into competitors and things that they're doing differently. There's a couple different processes of processing. One is going to be like a full extract that's full plant material, and they have a lot of other great beneficial things, cannabinoids, synthenoids, things like that. All of those things are going to be like different than what we're doing here. What we have is a pure plain product, so we don't do any full spectrum. We don't do any mixing with THCs or anything like that. And then in regards to the hemp oil thing, this is a really odd thing, because we find a lot of products that we look up and we're like, okay, so how exactly do they have 800 milligrams in here? And what a lot of places are doing, unfortunately, is they're taking actual hemp seed oil, which is a cold pressed seed that presses out to an olive oil type substance, just like that, or a grapeseed oil. They're putting a little bit of CBD in it, and now they're calling it CBD hemp oil. Now, that is not an incorrect term, but the amount of CBD that is in that would then be incorrect for the amount of that oil that's in the product. So when you're looking at your labeling, just do a really careful job of like checking out where it's coming from, how much is in it, and if it actually has a CBD count. We're finding a lot of these places are saying, you know, we have X amount in there, and that's really not what it is. Which actually leads me into another really good thing that I had jotted down here. The FDA about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I believe, released a little study that they did in regards to, they went around to the different CBD companies that are in existence right now, and they found about 75% of them were not accurately dosing. And that was where this huge thing came up with the hemp oil and the hemp seed oil and the CBD oil and things like that. Is people are just throwing 10 milligrams of CBD in a 1,000 milligram vial, and there's 1,000 milligrams of hemp oil in there, but it's not all CBD. So it's kind of tricky wording, and that's, again, one of those gray areas that's probably going to get filtered out with all the people and how they go about doing their business. But here we do accurate dosing. That's what I meant when I said that, is we like to try and make sure that we actually deal with numbers here. If we say it's 100 milligrams, there's a good chance it's probably going to be about 110 or 115, because we err on the side of benefiting for you guys. That's one of the big things about the company is we're not out here to try and pull the shade over someone's eyes when they're selling a product. I want you to know exactly what you're getting, and I want you to know that you're getting it at a good price. And that's, again, why we keep things super simple. The full spectrums are great for certain peoples and certain problems. Adding THC to CBD without a doubt has amazing benefits. And that's one of the great things about this is if you know exactly how much is in this and it's completely pure, and you're only going to add in whatever chemicals or whatever other things you want, THC or extra plant material or whatever it may be, you know exactly what you have there. And that's a really nice thing, because that allows people to kind of utilize it for what they want, for their means, or for their specific situation, which, again, is what we're all about, catering to the people that need it. So
I know we put it in the chat, but since this will be recorded after the live, why don't you go ahead and tell me what your website, Facebook, and Instagram, so people can find you.
Okay, right on. Yeah, we are on Natural Stress Solutions, LLC. That's how you can find us on the Instagram. We're going to have that getting launched, as well as the website, and that'll all be synced up to the Facebook as well. The Facebook is facebook.com/Natural Stress Solutions, LLC. Those are both the plugs for where you can get in contact with us. You can send a message through either Instagram on the DM, or you can just send a message right through Facebook Messenger, and I'll have somebody, or I myself will get back a hold of you as soon as we can.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. Is there anything you want to say to wrap it up?
No, just thank you very much for having me on. I look forward to hopefully getting back on the show again. And if there's anybody out there that has any questions about CBD products, or is there anything I can do to help you, don't feel hesitant to reach out. Talk to us. It's a community. That's what we're about. We're about getting together and making things happen for the people it needs to happen for. So,
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the first show. It was awesome to have you. You were very, very informative, and hopefully you'll have a lot of people checking out your Instagram page, and hopefully when you get your website launched, like you said, in a few weeks, that would definitely be awesome. We'll be able to post that somewhere for them so they can also see.
absolutely. I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, and you can stick around and hide your icon or stay on, or you can go.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So
Have a good day,
much.
guys.
Sure. Canna Trooper, I just want to ask you real quick, since I haven't been able to see in the Hangouts, are we not going to have a second guest today?
Unfortunately not. It doesn't appear like his link's working. He's having the same issue I did. Like I said, I had to go to my neighbors to get my stuff to work. So something's going on with Google Hangouts, you know? It's just the magic of the app that we all love.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's fine. I want to thank so many people that really, really supported me today. And first of all, I just want to say happy birthday to Hetty Blunts, great friend of mine. We've been connected for quite a while, and it's her birthday today. So everybody, please wish Hetty Blunts a happy birthday. And, Andrea Willis and Octotom, I want to say thank you so much. He came in last minute to help me out, and he's just been a great branch of support for me. So thank you very much for being here today and helping field the questions with Canna Trooper, and for being a moderator, and for all of the people that showed up for the show. I just want you to know and remind you again, generally we're going to have 2 guests, and we're going to try to make it an hour show. We're going to launch it January 2018, and it'll be every Sunday. It'll be at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll celebrate, obviously, 420 right in the beginning of the show, and then we'll go on with our interviews and have some fun. So thanks so much for all of you showing up today, and hopefully we'll be bringing some super interesting guests for you in the new year. And take care, everybody.